Hello, and welcome to another game development broadcast for Project CSK. As usual, of course, I am the creator of the project, and the online name that I go by is Des. We're going to continue working on the project like we have been doing pretty consistently on Tuesdays and Fridays for these live broadcasts. I know I do miss some days occasionally here and there, but for the most part, I do try to be consistent with both the time and the date, or sorry, the day of the week, should I say. But we're going to start working on the project pretty much where we last left things off in the previous broadcast. I did get a chance to do some work and stuff, but it wasn't really work directly on the current functionality that we were working on. I was working on shaders and trying to learn and better understand how shaders work. And that's a really interesting challenge in itself, but it is so fun. The challenge with it is that there's a steep learning curve, and just time goes by so fast when you're working with shaders and whatnot. It's really cool though. I still don't have anything to show, and I probably won't have anything to really show that I can bring into the main project development anytime soon. But in the long run, though, the shader understanding and functionality from shaders and what they bring is going to be extremely important to the overall project. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's just going to take some time before that functionality or that knowledge works its way into the project, because there's just so much to learn, right? And I'm new to shaders. I'm using shader graph. I'm not trying to learn the programming stuff or the scripting of the shaders, HLSL or shaderlang or something that Unity calls it. I don't remember exactly, but I'm working mostly with shader graph specifically, and then I want to get into VFX graph, which is pretty much similar to a particle system, but it's just more advanced and uses a similar concept to shader graph, where it uses nodes and it uses this thing called systems. So it's going to be pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to it, and I enjoy learning that stuff because it's very technical, but it's also creative. So I like both of those things personally. So it's like, I don't know, it's just really fun. But eventually that stuff will work its way into the project, and we'll have visual effects and we'll have particle systems and just things of that sort that'll come in. However, for today's broadcast, I'm not doing any shader stuff on these broadcasts, because it's mostly just learning, and I don't think learning would be very entertaining for you guys in terms of those of you who watch live, or for those of you that watch later on YouTube. So what we're going to do is just continue on where we last left things off. I kind of remember where we last left things off. I think we're working on the popsicle effect, and we kind of got that working, but then I don't remember the rest of it really. So we'll take a look at it and see kind of where things are off, and then we'll just pick it up right from there, and we'll continue moving forward. Okay, so let's see, my controller's connected. I don't have my local server online, so I will need to turn that on in just a moment. But I want to see kind of where we got things, where we last left things off. Okay, so popsicle, yeah, okay, so I do remember that. Okay, so I added that event right there where it says play flash freeze animation, and that's where I want to continue from. But I want to also get my local server online, just because we are going to be using it. So I'm going to need that up and running, so just bear with me for a sec, and I'll get that up and running, and then we'll jump back into Unity. For those of you that are just joining in online, hello and welcome. Feel free to say hi. I don't mind. This is meant to be a two-way thing. That's why I do these broadcasts, is for you guys. Oops, how did that command go? Okay. Yeah, so this is supposed to be a two-way thing. I do this for education and for entertainment. So if you want to say hi, if you just want to hang out and just watch me work on the project, that's fine too. I would prefer you say hi, but that's okay. Okay, almost ready. Okay, so local server is online. Okay, so local servers online. What I want to do is pretty much have a look at where this is. So let's have a look at that. So what I was going to do, I believe from what I remember, I was going to add one to be used inside of the test environment, and two being inside of when it's connected to the server. So we will need to take both of those into account. And to do that, we need to check to make sure if we're running in test or we need to check to see if we're running in test or if we're running in okay, so what we need to do is at this point play flash freeze animation. So this needs to dispatch an event going through the event system, and then we can capture that event and appropriately play the test animation. So what we'll do then is, how could we best do that? There's a number of ways we can do that, but dispatch event, explosive animation complete. What we want is a specific animation. We want the pathing one. So I think we'll need to listen in on animation ID and then look at which animation completed. Yeah, we'll need to see which animation ID it is, and then depending on if it's the right ID, I think there's only one for this particularly at this time. So I don't think it'll matter too much, but I think it's going to be animation ID 0. And then what we'll do is dispatch this event. So explosive animation complete. No, let's go with explosive position. So we'll say explosive position animation complete, because it's going to be the position. When it reaches its destination point specifically is when this event is going to be triggered, or sorry, when this event is going to be captured from the one that's dispatching it. And then we want to redispatch this, and then this will go through the event system, and then we will this will go through the event system, and then from there we'll capture it. Yeah, okay. So for the time being, what I'll use is, because I do have my custom event system, so we'll just dispatch it as a normal event object. Um, event object equals new um, event object. And then we'll say the dispatcher equals this. And then I think that's pretty much it. So then we can go through the framework. My typing. Instance dot event manager dispatch. We'll go with the global for this one just to make it easier for now. Event manager dot so that'll be the event ID, and then it's going to be the event object. Yeah, okay, so we need an event ID for this particular type of animation event. Actually, I think we should probably create a effect event category of IDs. Do we have one for effects? Object pool manager. No, I didn't see one for effect. I may have glanced over it, but I don't think we have an effect one. And we're going to need one at some point. So let's create a effect category, because it'll get added onto later on as development continues. But for right now, I don't think there's going to be much to add in there. However, I do want to add the category itself. So what we'll do is effects related events. So it'll be a public constant integer effect. What did we call it though? Explosive, right? It'll be effect position animation complete. Effect position animation complete. So we'll go with that. 12500. I think that should do for now. We'll see how that goes. Oh, hello, Mr. Cog 3D. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well and looking forward to the weekend. It's going to get a little bit toasty for the next, I think, few days or so, and then it's going to cool right back down, which I don't mind, because now that the sun sets a lot sooner because of the angular rotation of the Earth, so it's it doesn't get quite as hot, or sorry, it does get warm, but only when the sun is at a specific rotation. But because it comes and goes really quickly, my apartment just doesn't get that kind of hot anymore. So I haven't turned on my AC in like probably, yeah, I think it's been a week roughly. So I was only using my AC for a very short period of time. I don't think I'll really be using it much more, if at all, for the rest of this year. I love the summer weather. Yeah, me too. I really like the heat. I don't mind the cool weather, but there's something about the summer, nice warm weather that just makes everything just feel, I don't know, different. Of course, it's a seasonal change, right? But it's something that I personally enjoy. I like that heat. It's just nice. Okay, so when we dispatch this event, BRB back LOL. Wow, that was quick. That was really quick. Welcome back, by the way. You were gone so long. You missed some stuff. Okay, so what I want to do is this event that we're going to dispatch, I want to capture it in the game room. So generally, I don't like to use global events. However, sometimes they are warranted. This may or may not be one of those scenarios. However, I'm going to use it for now, and we'll see how it goes. Because I want to use this for testing. So handle effect position. What happened there? Okay. Handle position complete. Okay, and then we will add the remove of the listener as well. Was meant as a joke. Had to take time to remove my shirt. That's okay. As a shirtless guy who is currently broadcasting, I totally understand. No worries. It's all good. Okay, and then we want to add, I really like that auto code generate by holding Alt and pressing Enter. I've been meaning to, more and more, I keep thinking about trying out Rider. Wait, that's not what I did. That's not what I did either. Oh no. I think the buttons are kind of confusing here. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. So I've been meaning to try out Rider, JetBrains Rider, just because I heard so much good stuff, and I know I've been saying that for kind of a while now. Just haven't really committed to it yet because I don't do that much programming. I do a fair amount of programming for sure, but I just don't do that much programming right now. I think it's for sure something I will try out in the future, but for right now, I just don't know if it's the right decision. Okay, so we'll say popsicle event caught, and then we will go with how do we want to do that? It'll be environment popsicle projectile, and we will call it a projectile. Equals IE dot target object? No. Is it target object? I thought it was called target. Oh, dispatcher. Whoops. That's what I meant. Dispatcher. Dispatcher. And then, of course, we'll typecast it as, and by, why does it not pick that up? Okay, so that should be good. And then I just want to output this dot name. And yeah, let's have a look at that and see what that comes out as. Once I perfect all I'm learning now, I will learn that. There's so much stuff to learn. I can never seem to find enough time to learn all the things that I want to. Like I was saying at the beginning of this broadcast, learning shaders and shader graph and VFX graph and particle systems and all of that stuff. It's a lot of time investment to learn it. And it's a pretty steep learning curve. Not just at the beginning, but to do cool stuff. It's a pretty steep learning curve. So it requires a lot of understanding of the fundamentals of various different, I guess, different categories, some of them uniquely specialized to be able to do what it is that you want to do. Because first you got to visualize it, but then you got to have the technical knowledge. Then you need to have the creative knowledge, right? And then you need to invest the time into it, and it becomes this cycle of, wow, like there just is not enough hours in a day or a week to do all of that stuff. But it's so fun though. I really enjoy learning. It's strange though, because when I was in school, like way back, right? This was quite a while ago. When I was in school, I was bored to death, right? In class, I was the kid who would fall asleep in class, and then the teacher would get pissed off and send me to the principal's office, and then I would end up having another conversation with the school counselor. And they're like, why are you sleeping in class? Are you not getting enough sleep? And I'm like, yeah, I'm getting enough sleep, but there's no nice way of me putting it. The class is really boring. And they're like, well, that's the class. It's the curriculum. That's a you problem. You need to find a way of how to make it interesting and exciting for yourself. I'm like, how can I possibly do that? I'm not the one who's making any of these decisions, right? It's the teacher who's doing it. And I'm not saying it's necessarily their fault, because, there's no one solution fits all kind of thing. But for me, I had difficulties in school, and I had difficulties learning, and I got bad grades as a result of it, right? But then now that I'm much older and I get to learn at my own pace, I get to learn the things that I want to learn, and I get to learn the things that I'm interested in, the stuff that I like to tinker with. Learning is so much more fun. It is so much more fun. I can't even put it into words, just how fun it is. It's really fun, and I like it. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm really saying exactly, but it's like I wish back then. I'm sure some things are different now, and some things are not, of course. But I'd like to think that there's kind of a happy medium, right, where future generations can be taught in a way that's more towards something that's appropriate for them to absorb that information, instead of a method of curriculum that is done because that's just the way it's always been done, and it's assumed that it will work in the way that it's intended without actually having factual data to back that up. Yeah, okay, so I threw it, and then popsicle event caught, projectile, popsicle, and yeah. Okay, so that's perfect right there. So we're going to capture this event that we just put in, and it's going to work in two different ways. One is going to be, we're going to use it for when it's running standalone, and the other is going to be when it is connected to the server. So it needs to work on both of those. Back was disconnected for a few minutes. Oh, are you having connectivity complications again? Is that what you're experiencing? Because as far as I know, my stream quality, both YouTube and Twitch are saying that my quality is excellent and I'm not getting any dropped frames. So I think that might be a ISP thing on your side. Or I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It happens sometimes. If you see it's happening quite a bit, you're welcome to switch over from Twitch to YouTube. It's pretty much the same, right? You're not missing anything. But of course, then you would need a YouTube account if you want to chat. No, it's not you. It's my connection. It started when I came in your room, though. You're live on YouTube? Yeah, I multicast. I multicast because it gives me the opportunity to allow to broaden out the audience. And some people, Twitch actually does, even though it's browser based, it does not work for some users, and they get a black screen. YouTube is generally more friendly because it allows you to look at the stream in the raw quality that I'm putting it out. Not exactly, it is re-encoded. So you can get it at 1080p 30, or you can downgrade it to 720p 30 or downgrade it to 480p 30. So YouTube does that. There's a word for it. I can't think of it, but Twitch doesn't allow me to do that. So yeah, you can switch between them, and sometimes I've noticed that Twitch broadcast will have interruptions, right? So my stream that I'm broadcasting to Twitch for it to broadcast out will have complications, whether it's their side or my side. But then YouTube is working, and I just find that a little strange. So yeah, it's just. I do both. And I can do that because I'm not a partner. So if you're a partner on Twitch, they don't actually allow you to do that at the same time. You'd have to end one to do the other. You can only pick one or the other, but YouTube doesn't care. YouTube says do what you want, basically, and you can just do whatever, and it's at your discretion. So, and I know some people don't like Twitch, whereas some people don't really like YouTube. So it just gives people more options, really. And because I broadcast onto YouTube, then I don't have to later on upload it to YouTube to archive it. It's auto-archived for me because it's being broadcast to them. Understandable, because they are paying you as a partner. I think you mean the opposite of that. I'm not a partner. I don't get paid from either or. I do this entirely for fun. Okay, so this event did work correctly. What we're going to use is we're going to use the position of the object. So we need the vector 3 projectile position equals projectile dot transform dot local position. Okay, so we have that. So then what we need is a function to take the position and create the effect for this projectile. So it will need to take in it'll need to take in some conditional parameters, but we'll keep it simple initially, right? So what I'm thinking is, because it's not going to be done here, it's going to be done on the, it's going to be done in the environment map, not the game room. So I separated out the game room to the map just because the logic kind of made sense to split it, and it allows it to kind of be grouped. So we'll see how this goes. I'm for sure going to be refactoring some more logic, but for right now, so what we need to do is, okay, so this should be pretty easy to do, I think. We'll see. So what I want to say is I want to create a function that calls create. We have another one that's create explosion, do we not? Maybe we can reuse that one. Create destructible, create environment, nope, not that. Where's the effect one? Game room bomb, pick up, explosion, explosive, popsicle, effect. I think we can use this. I think we can leverage this because all we need to do, like this will use the replicator, which is exactly what I want to use. It'll take power, which is exactly what I want to use, and then it'll take variation ID, which is again exactly what I want to use. So really, what we need to add in is the type of explosion, and I think it should be good. I know you're not a partner. You said that if you are a partner, you cannot stream on YouTube. I said understandable because they are paying you as a partner, referring to partners, you. Oh, yeah. No, sorry. I misunderstood. Yes, you're correct. You're totally correct. I'm out of breath. Why are you out of breath? I can't help but to think. Are you okay? Maybe it's because a little bit of warm or humid. Highly recommend staying hydrated. Okay, so I do think we can reuse this function. Oh, yeah, okay, I get it. All right, so I do think we can reuse this function. So what we'll need to do is use the particle effect replicator, and we'll access its enum. Yeah, that'll work. So what we'll do is we'll add position, type. No, let's go type, then position, then power, then variation. I think that makes more sense. So we will say this dot particle effect type, and we'll call this particle effect type. So we'll call it particle effect type, and then we will set that here to particle effect type. Perfect. Yeah, that works out well, actually. Almost like I know what I'm doing. Okay, so yeah, we need to pass that in. However, since we just changed this function, there should be an error somewhere. There was a call here. This was on the bomb explosion. So we need to say type dot explosion poof. And yeah, that's it. And then since that function should be public, we should be able to say environment map, and bring that down. Okay, so we need position, power, and a variation ID. Okay. Do we have variation ID? This dot, nope, we don't have variation ID, so let's just make something up for now. So this will be for later usage. So that's our variation ID. Power, we will make that up as well for now. Power, I believe, is going to be a 2 by default. Okay, and then the last one is going to be the position, which we do have. Power variation ID, okay, and then we need to set, of course, the type being flash freeze. Okay, so that means that this should hopefully work correctly, and it should work with our object pool system. But let's see how it looks. Did I save it? No, I did not. Okay. Save. Okay, script files are saved. Let's see how this goes. I am using two 4K monitors and same brand. I have twice on one, and I have I can't read right now. I have twice on one and YouTube on the other. I have Twitch. Oh, okay. I have Twitch on one and YouTube on the other. The text on Twitch is much sharper on Twitch than on YouTube. Really? I've never noticed that. Is it that they use a different font? Is that what it is? Because now that you mention it, I kind of see that too. It almost seems like it's slightly blurry on YouTube, or maybe it's because they have a little bit of anti-aliasing on the text. But like when I really pay attention to it, yeah, it's the font. Okay, so it's the font and then the sharpness. It does look like YouTube has yeah, I think YouTube has a little bit of anti-aliasing, whereas Twitch does not. It's interesting, though. I didn't really think about that until you pointed that out. But yeah, I do see that sharpness difference, though. It's very interesting. I like Twitch better. Each platform has its strengths and weaknesses, I think. And of course, it comes down to user preference. That's a really important factor. I used to be a huge Twitch fan, like for the longest time. But the reason why I'm slowly transitioning, like I barely watch Twitch anymore. I can't stand the commercials. Commercials are a complete turnoff for me. They just turn me away immediately. Oh, nice. Okay. So there is our flash freeze. I know it doesn't look amazing right now, but that's our effect right there. It will look much nicer later. So yeah, that's with a power of 2 for the explosion size, right? And those explosions are being pooled. So that's pretty cool. At least I hope they are. Let's have a look at that. Let's turn on the object pool. And we got terrain. Okay. Dynamic object. Where's our flash freeze? 25. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So they're being pooled. So I think it's working correctly. I really hate when you get a commercial as soon as you go into the room. Then you get 6 commercials. Yeah, so that's and that's part of the reason. Like I stopped, and I've said this before, but it's one of those things I could rant about it forever, but I'm not paying to have my time wasted like TV, right? Like that's the reason why a lot of people stop using TV and they become cord cutters, as it's called, right? Nobody wants it. We're already paying for it, right? There was never an agreement that says you can waste our time with commercials that we never asked for or wanted in the first place. And our show is on average, I'm generalizing, right? 20 minutes to half an hour commercials. You get half an hour show, right? A half an hour show is 15 minutes commercials, right? Nobody wants that, right? And you're missing out important stuff. And in Twitch, I really dislike it. I go into a stream, commercial. I close and I move on to YouTube gaming. It's not as big, it's not as popular, right? But I go to YouTube gaming, right? Or I'm watching someone on Twitch, I'm watching like an event or something that's live that I'm interested in that's not at the same time being cast on YouTube, which more and more of them are doing now. But you're watching it, critical moment, commercial, right? Or you're watching a streamer and they're doing something really funny or something you're really engaged in, commercial, right? And then again, commercial. And I'm like, no, just no. That's it. Like, I'm out, right? So sometimes I have noticed that they run a lot more commercials than other times. Um, the streamers do get some control, but they only get limited control over it. For myself, there is zero commercial because I'm not an affiliate, I'm not a partner. And if they offered it to me, I don't have a user base anyway, but like much of a user base. But if they offered it to me because of the commercials, I would probably turn it down actually, because they don't run commercials on those who are not partners or affiliates. So the streamers that fall just below the fold on that, you get zero commercials on those. Yeah, and that's why you get no commercials in this room. I haven't had cable or watched TV in years. I know exactly what you mean. I don't miss it at all personally. In Twitch, you watch people program and you can never follow along because there are more commercials than content. You get lost. Yeah, I agree. I actually watch those some of those programmers on Twitch, like Thor from Go Pirate Games or Pirate Gaming or something. I forget, but he's really cool. Like that guy, and he's got this really nice radio voice, right? Which I really appreciate. It just makes things really interesting to listen to him, and he's like pretty experienced, and he's working on a nice little game too called Pirate. No, it's called now the name slips my mind. Anyway, but there's a bunch of them, right? So there's a bunch of these streamers that do that. However, as much as I like his broadcast, as much as I like the content that he makes, I like watching him play games. I like all of that stuff. The minute there's a commercial, I'm gone. I'm sorry, I'm gone. That's just the way it is, right? It's just the way it is. Sounds familiar. Can you type the game? One sec. Let me see if I can find him. So it would be twitch.t. That's it. Go Pirate Software. This wait. Did he rebrand to Pirate Software? No. What was it called? Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can find it. So it'll be Twitch, Go Pirate Software. Yeah, this is it. How come it's not there anymore? Interesting. So his game was called Heartbound. That's what it is. And it's on Steam. So if we go to Steam, Heartbound. Yeah, that's him. That's his game. Right? So this guy broadcasts almost daily, right? And he's got a pretty big community. He plays a lot of games, but he's really good at broadcasting. And where's his Twitch link? That was his Twitch link. So, and his name is Thor. That might be it. Let me see. Yeah. I must have mistyped it. Yeah, okay, this guy. Yeah, that's him. Pirate Software. I think it was Go Pirate Software before, and he rebranded and took out the Go part. But yeah, that's definitely him right there. So he's really good. And I used to watch him. It's very knowledgeable, or he's very knowledgeable about a lot of different things. And you can pick up on a lot of these things, which is why I like watching these. But the advertisement, it's killing it. I just can't do it. Like, I'm sorry. I like this guy. I do. But those ads, they ruin it for me. They really do. It just takes away from the overall enjoyment and experience in my opinion. But I mean, of course, it's Twitch, right? They got to make their money somehow, or they got to make as much money as they possibly can, because they're a corporation and they're owned by Amazon, which is another corporation. I mean, there's no nice way of saying it, but corporations don't have a soul, right? They're just purely an entity to make money. So if you remove any principles, ethics, morals, or anything from it, and the only purpose is to make money and as much of it as possible, then yeah, they're going to do anything and everything in their power to do that. That includes running absurd amounts of advertisement. I don't think he does Unity. You're right. He does not do Unity. He uses, what's that game engine? Not Game Maker, but there's this other one. So it's a 2D one that he uses, which is a very popular game engine. But yeah, either way, there's a lot of that knowledge is transferable, right? A lot of the conversations, a lot of the technologies, concepts, do's and don'ts, and whatnot is cross-transferable. And then there's this other guy I used to watch, Boppy Games or something. I think it was Boppy Games. Yeah, this guy. So he does. He's also got a game on Steam. It's like a builder of some kind, like a resource building is what I meant to say, like a resource building game of some kind. And he's pretty good, and he does his work in Unity, and he's really knowledgeable about a lot of different stuff as well. But yeah, I used to watch, like, not all the time, of course, but you know, when you have some time to kill and you just want to watch something and be entertained, but also learn something, right? It's nice to just jump into a live broadcast and watch these. And these guys all fall under the game dev and software development, right? So when you go to here, you can see there's a lot of popular guys that do this stuff, some less popular, and I'm kind of way in the bottom because I don't really broadcast that often, and I don't really have much of a following, but it's really entertaining to watch any one of these guys, right? There's a lot of knowledge from all of these individuals. No matter which one you click on, there's going to be entertainment of different kinds. There's going to be various different technologies and all of it. And I really like it. I think this is what YouTube should be doing. And this category of software and game development, so I don't know if you know the story, but this category was made because of Thor from Pirate Software, the guy who made Heartbound. This category was made because he pushed for it. So we have him to thank for this category. He was the main driving force for it, and there's a whole story behind it. You can Google it and figure it out. But that's all thanks to Thor, right? So all of these people are now have a category. I really do think that YouTube should make a category for software and game development or something similar as well, because right now YouTube just kind of, let's be honest, it's not great, right? For broadcasting, they don't have a centralized something like this. They do kind of, but the UI is not good. The usability is not good. The performance is okay. But the nice thing is they don't have advertisements. And I really do think that there's a lot of value in allowing these kinds of categories. Because right now, if you go to, let's say, any one of the popular games, you'll get a row of live stuff, and the rest will be all pre-recorded videos that people have put up. That's not what you want. When you want live, right? That's exactly what you want to see. You don't want live content mixed in with offline content. That's not what you're asking for, right? So I think YouTube is really kind of missing the mark on that right now, because there's a lot of value in having just an area for live content. And I remember YouTube wanted to buy Twitch initially when Twitch was up for sale. Amazon came in and scooped it up, and they had the higher bid for it, so they ended up getting it. But YouTube was about to buy it, though. If Amazon didn't offer the absurd amount of money that they did to buy Twitch, YouTube was next in line to buy it. I think there were some other interested players too. I believe Microsoft was one of them too. Like, can you imagine Microsoft buying Twitch? I can't. And if they did, I'd probably stop using it. But yeah, so there's a lot of interested parties. Who takes more commission when people donate YouTube or Twitch? Um, it in terms of the payment structures, I'm not that well versed with it, obviously, but I can give you from my personal experience is that if you're using Twitch and you become a subscriber, that's a 50-50 split. Unless you have a contract and you're in the top tier, you get a 75-25, which Twitch is slowly taking away and no longer offers that. So it's a 50-50 split. When someone donates bits on Twitch, I think, I could be wrong, but I think that's a 60-40 split in Twitch's favor. And then there is the donations where people donate, and donations, of course, it's not in Twitch's control. So let's say donations are made through PayPal or whatever. It's whatever that they take, and the remainder goes to the broadcaster, and that's probably the best ratio in terms of favor towards the broadcaster. YouTube offers, I believe, a flat rate of, I think it's 25-75 in favor of the broadcaster, or 30-70 in favor of the broadcaster consistently. That's just YouTube. And then there's Facebook streaming, which nobody really does that. Just because it just doesn't have the audience. People don't go to Facebook for that. But I could be wrong on some of those numbers. However, YouTube does offer the best numbers. However, the best value that you get as a streamer is donations made not on the platform or their bit system or whatever, but through a donation of, let's say, PayPal or Ko-Fi or something else. That's when they take the lowest cut, and the streamer gets the most. You can donate through Twitch too, and they control it. I'm not sure about that, to be honest. Like I said, I have limited knowledge, but what I do know is Twitch, they want to make more. From what I've heard, it's not official yet, but their rate of what they offer is being reduced more and more in favor of Twitch than in favor of the broadcasters. So that's why some people jumped ship too from Twitch to YouTube, just because YouTube offers much better ratio in terms of the split, or the way that it's split. You can donate through Twitch too, and they control it. You need to be a partner. That could probably be it, is you would need to be an affiliate or a partner, which I am neither. I'm neither of those, and I'm okay with that. That's not really my goal. That's not what I'm striving for. But yeah, no, I think it's pretty cool. It's really interesting stuff to learn. Various different little intricacies of each platform, because they are each a unique platform. Like the audience on Twitch is not the same audience on YouTube. The audience on YouTube is not the same audience of Twitch. Of course, there is some overlap, but they're not exactly the same. So it's pretty interesting. Oh, hi, Uzak. How are you doing today? Welcome to the broadcast. Hope you're doing well and looking forward to the weekend. Mr. Cog3D and I, we were just having a conversation, and I just got this working recently too. So this is our popsicle effect. I know it doesn't look amazing yet, but it will once we get it to that point. So it'll look good. It will look good. But yeah, so that's going to be our effect, and it uses the object pool system. I had a very bad car crash yesterday. Oh no, that's terrible. I'm lucky to be alive and okay. Wow. Car's completely destroyed. Sorry to hear that. Wow, that really sucks. Are you like okay, or are you like you're okay, but you're still kind of like not really okay? Because there's a bit of a difference there, right? And sometimes some of the effects from a car crash, some of the symptoms, whether psychological or physical, may not surface until sometime later, right? But yeah, that sucks. I'm glad that you're still okay, but not a single scratch. Physically okay, but shaken up a bit. Yeah, I can imagine. I'm a little anxious. Yeah, no, I totally get it. There's a whole psychological factor to that after having a serious accident, because you never know, right? And it kind of makes you a bit more cautious next time you get into a vehicle or you're into, in a different environment, because it's fresh on your mind still, right? Either way, I'm glad to hear that you're okay, though. Um, but yeah, I've had my share of car accidents as well, some pretty bad ones, and I know what you're not exactly, but I know that feeling, though. I know what you mean. So, yeah. Yeah. Every moment's a precious one. Okay, so with this, what I wanted to do now is I needed to tie it in so we can get this to work in the when it's connected to the game. Or sorry, when it's connected to the server, should I say. So now that we got the logic partially working, this is for, right, I didn't separate it out either. Okay, so this needs to be for right now, we will say if nope, single framework instance dot IO manager is connected to server equals true, and single framework instance dot user manager my user does not equal null. Okay, and let's just move that into here. So this is temporary. So this is temporary restructure logic at a later time. Okay, so we'll leave that there for now, and then we'll come back to it. So what I want to do then is I want to go into the game room and test out a popsicle and see what happens. And the reason why I did that is for testing, but also because, so sometimes when you're in a game room and you throw a popsicle, there could be an obstruction that prevents it from exploding, right? If you throw it into an area where it's not going to explode, it shouldn't play the explosion flash freeze animation, right? So over here, this should, just as I say that, it's not working, okay? I did it backwards. If connected to server equals false, and this equals null. Okay. Good thing I tested that. So I did it backwards. So I'm just testing the condition just to make sure that it's running in test mode, meaning it's not connected to the server. And of course, this game has to be connected to the server for it to be playable from an end user point of view, because that's what it's meant for. It's not meant as a standalone. Okay, so let's test this out. Okay, so that works, but then if we go and log in into a game room, and I am using my Xbox controller. Oh, just in time. Okay, so next round is about to start. So Uzak, if you don't mind me asking, was there anyone else in the car with you? Was anyone else injured, either in your vehicle or the other party's vehicle? I know it's not the greatest topic of conversation, but I can't help but to think that. Oh, okay. I got it. I got it. So there was no other parties involved. Okay, so it was just you. Oh, okay. Got it. I got it. They were more worried I was okay. Yeah, because I mean, materialistic things are important, but they're not that important. Life is more important than materialistic things. Always. Okay, so you can see that when I throw the popsicles, they don't do anything. And that's exactly how they should be behaving right now. And we'll go tie that in logically in just a moment. The old guy used to be a doctor, so he held my hand while I waited for police. Very kind people. I plan to visit them at some point and thank them. They called the police for you. Okay, no, that's good. That's good. I'm glad it went that way than any other. Really, I think that's the humane way of doing it. Because when someone goes through a difficult experience like that, right? It's traumatizing to a degree, right? Even if it's only for a short period of time, and even though there's no physical damage to the individual's body, it's still a difficult experience, no matter the person. Okay, so I'm glad I mean, I'm not glad that it happened, but I'm glad it worked out in the way that it did. So you're okay. Or you will be okay, should I say. Once you get past the psychological part of it, which will take some time. And don't be in a rush to get over that. It's okay to not be able to wake up the next day and just be like, yeah, whatever, right? And if you need to talk to someone, definitely talk to somebody about it, because psychological stress is real, right? It doesn't matter age, gender, personal belief, none of that stuff. Like it doesn't matter, right? It's everyone's different, right? And if you need to talk to somebody about it, definitely talk to somebody about it. And regardless, of course, go to the doctor if you haven't done so already and get a full checkup just in case there's any other kinds of things that maybe you weren't aware of at the time, but then later start to resurface. Like specifically bruises, joint pain, um, difficulty sleeping, even, or stuff like that. All of them are valid, and all of them should be taken seriously. Doctor cleared me, but I have more appointments to determine why I lost consciousness. Oh. Okay. Yeah, no, that's real. You should definitely look at that. I'm not saying it's one thing or another. I'm not a specialist by any means, right? But if you lost consciousness, there was a reason for losing that consciousness, whether it was the excitement, the adrenaline, which can make you temporarily lose consciousness, or at least you think you lost consciousness, but your brain was just overloaded, or maybe there was some kind of impact that you weren't aware of, or maybe it was just a shock, like the vibration of it going through your body, which made you temporarily lose consciousness, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, that's definitely something you want to follow up on. That's what I want right there. Popsicle explode. Okay, so at here, we need to, let's bookmark it, change X, Y to 3D position, call that function that we made. Okay, so where was that other one? Right here. Okay, so initially I'm going to hard code these values, but of course later on I will be doing it properly. For right now, just hard coded values are fine. So we do need position. Power we already have, so we don't need power. Variation ID we don't need. So what we need really is just position. So we need to convert the XY to position. It happened before I crashed it. It was direct cause of losing control. Oh, I was awake for the first half of what happened. That could be serious. Good that you're looking further into it. It's usually signifies a concussion. I'm not sure I understand. It happened before I crashed. So you're saying that you lost consciousness before the crash? Am I understanding it correctly, or am I just interpreting it in a different manner? Because if you lost consciousness before the crash and it resulted into the crash, then there's something there. And there's definitely something there that needs to be looked at. But if that's not the case, yeah, before the crash. Okay, so I can tell you from personal experience that I know of some individuals, should I say, that's happened to before, and it could be a number of things, right? And I can't say, again, I'm not a doctor. Please don't take this in a way of I know exactly what I'm, what I'm saying is exactly the case or the cause. That's not it, right? But it could be your blood pressure level. If you're stressed, or if you have a fluctuating blood sugar or high pulse, or there's a correct term for it. I can't think of it right now. But what you want to do is you want to monitor if you have like a some kind of device that can help you monitor your pulse. So what you do is any one of those off-the-shelf kind of things, you don't need to buy anything expensive like those wristwatch things that'll help you monitor your pulse. Get that and put it on. So what happened was that this individuals, which I won't get into, because it's unpredictable. Sometimes it's consistent, sometimes it's not. right? You can't just go to the doctor because the doctor is going to just take your blood pressure level at that time and say, oh, you're okay. So that's not the case, right? But they're not testing it 24/7, right? So what you need is to monitor that 24/7 to make sure that that's not the case. And if it's happened this time, then that means it's happened also before in the past that you may not be aware of it. It just could be more minor, so you never really noticed it, but chances are it may have happened before as well. So that means it's a pattern that's starting to form, and you want to have data, real data, to isolate it and identify where it's coming from, so then you can address it at its cause, at the root cause. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a specialist. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of factors. It could be stress, it could be food, it could be dehydration, it could be excitement, it could be a lack of sleep, it could be so many things that I can't say for sure it's one or the other. What I can say is that there is a very small possibility that it might be one of these. And what I'm saying is that it could be your blood pressure level, right? Because it can cause temporary loss of consciousness. So that could be the case. Again, I'm not saying it is, but what you can do is, because if you go to the doctor for that, they're just going to take that test right then and there. Your blood pressure level is going to be okay, and they're going to say, oh, you're good, it's fine, right? Or it could be stress, or it could be whatever. But if you're monitoring it 24/7, right, then you'll see that spike, right? And you'll see that spike and you'll be able to match the pattern. Okay, it's spiking, and then all of a sudden at the peak of the spike, you start feeling a little bit dizzy. Then you'll know that, okay, so this is something that I need to take to a professional. You take that to the doctor, right? And then they can better diagnose it. Oh, hi, Encrypted Cow. It's been a while since I seen you here. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well, and looking forward to the weekend. You literally walked in at a point where we're kind of having an awkward conversation here about stuff, but either way, you're welcome here, regardless, of course, at any time. It's been a while, doing pretty great. That's good. That's good. So, what have you been up to, Encrypted Cow? I remember quite a while ago, and you'll have to forgive me, I don't remember the full details, but we talked about briefly about some of the stuff you were working on. How's that going for you? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to change the two XY position. I want to convert that into XYZ position. Where's our function for that? I think I moved it over to the, didn't I? Did I not move that? No, I didn't. It's still here. Okay, so what we want to do is convert XY to XYZ. Yeah, that's what we want to do. Okay, so what we'll do then is we'll call this one. I think this is the one I want to standardize on, and use this one less, and then eventually we'll only be using this function here. And eventually, once we move away completely from Flash, and I no longer need that, then I'll take out all of this stuff anyway, or at least comment it out initially. But we'll see how that goes. Let's see. So what I want to do is call this function. An example would be great. Okay, let's borrow from this example right here. Jump back to our bookmark. Nope, wrong bookmark. This one here. Okay, so that should hopefully work. We'll see how that goes, though. So we have that. Oh, yeah. And this is going to be different because we no longer need that stuff. That was just for that testing scenario. I had to put the MMO on hold for a while, waiting for Go.4, but I recently started rebuilding it and it's going quite well. That's great. Did a local game jam in the meantime. That's great. Game jams are fun. Other than that, just being busy at work. Okay, no, that's cool. That's understandable. I know time is a luxury that we don't always have in the way that we want, when we want it or when we need it for the projects and for the things that we like to do. So it's completely understandable. I get it. But yeah, either way, glad to see you're still doing what you enjoy doing. Okay, so this works, shield works, explosives work, blocks work. Okay, so let's go to the game room and see how that's going. Okay, we will need to KO and then jump into the next one. I'm heading to Europe for 6 months in December, so I have to get a bunch of stuff ready for that. Wow. Europe for 6 months. That sounds awesome, actually. That sounds pretty cool. I'm sure you're really looking forward to something like that. Well, no, that's great. That's really good. Yeah, I'm sure you got a lot of things to do to get ready for that. Ooh, perfect. Okay, so we got Popsicle. So what I want to do is I want to see if this works. So if we go Popsicle, throw it, and there it is. Nice. Okay. Yeah, so I would say that that's a success. That was surprisingly not that difficult to do. If I was a kid again, yeah, I would not take time for granted. Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. Time is this thing that just keeps going forward, and it goes by so fast. It really does. Okay, I want to get some popsicles and just kind of fling them around a little bit. Yeah. Okay. I know it doesn't look great right now, but once we get the shaders and whatnot working, it'll look real good. Okay. And then if we put a block here and we throw a popsicle, nothing. Perfect. Yep, that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. Okay, so I would say that's a success. So then the next thing that we need to do is we need to get the freeze effect. So when we freeze either a player or an explosive, we need to kind of get that going. And then our expressive emotes are working. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, it's starting to come together. Although I'm looking forward to it, it's not as exciting as it seems. Haha. Going to be working 6 days a week there. Oh, that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit. Yeah, I'm military and going over to Latvia. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, we got another military guy. You were in the military navy. It was like a vacation. Yeah. I'm not sure that's the word most people would use to describe it, but everyone has different experience. Yeah, those guys got to deploy way more and got a lot more, go to a lot more places. Not a fan of ships, though. I'm good sleeping in a tent. Yeah, I actually really like being out on the water too. I know it's not everyone's thing, but I definitely like the water a lot. Haven't I can't say I've been on a military ship ever, uh, but I've been on some like boats, like uh, a boat restaurant kind of thing for an event before, which was pretty neat. I thought it was really neat, but it wasn't like out on the ocean or anything like that. So not quite the same thing. However, I really do like the scenery of being out on the water and the very calm movements of the wave that kind of, sway from side to side. I really like that feeling. There's something, I don't know, some kind of magical about it. Okay. Yeah, I would say that that is working as expected. Canadian Navy is a vacation when you're deployed. You work 1 day a week. You work 1 day a week? Encrypted cow. You Canadian? Yeah, yeah, we're Canadians. Nice. Me too. Excellent. 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 Okay. Looks like we're all Canadians then. So I'll rename the stream to we'll call it Canadian shirtless hot tub game dev. That'll be the new stream name that I'll rename it to. That'll get a lot of viewers, I think. Okay, so with that, I think we're ready for the next step of it. So what I'll need to do is I'll need to get the flash. No, I'll need for the frozen effect is what I need. That's what I need. Let's see. Do I have that exported? I don't think I do. I don't think I made it that far before. We'll just load up Flash and have a look at it. I don't think I have exported it, though I may have. But what I'll need to do is I want to, so we'll open up, I do think it was exported. Okay, so these are my freeze things. So how can we get this to work? You get more views if you add Canada to your description, where you have mobile development, Unity, Pixar, game development, English programming. Yeah, probably. Who's going to invade who? Oh no, we're having this conversation. Okay, so with my knowledge of shaders now, I know that you can't do full transparency. It's either transparent or it's not. We can do a cut out. Is it called cutout? I forget. Cutout or what's it called? I forget. But okay, I think that might work actually. So then it won't be transparent. Instead, we'll cut out the empty parts and all around it. Either way, I think I do have these graphics somewhere. So let's open up the old project and have a look at that. Where is Unity? Okay, so we'll just wait for the project to load. For those of you that are new coming to the broadcast, hello and welcome. Feel free to say hi. I don't mind. But if you have questions, by all means, feel free to ask. This is meant to be a two-way interaction. So if you got questions and whatnot, by all means, feel free to ask. And there goes my camera again. I really do need to fix that at some point. And by fix that, I mean get a proper camera. Okay, so we should have the freeze. Nope, not those. Okay, so maybe not freeze, maybe frozen. That's it. Okay, so I do have that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these. So what I'll do then is I will take these and yeah, I should be able to bring them in actually quite easily. But what I want to do is I want to add them to the atlas. So we'll do a quick little bit of pixel art. Let's see. Pixel art, environment. Just gonna make a backup before I do anything with this. And you'll see me open it up in just a moment. Okay, so what I want to do, oh yeah, I was working on some stuff quite a while ago. Let's see, what was I working on? Oh yeah, different types of explosives. That one didn't quite turn out to be what I wanted, but I thought it was still kind of cute and funny at the same time. I was working on some different explosives, but this is the one we're currently using. There will be some more variations later on, but I was just having a little bit of fun with it. Anyway, that's not what we're going to be looking at. What I want to do is I want to add a, so I'll need to add to the appropriate layering structure. So it'll go into the game room. It'll go into where exactly? For export, we can hide that. And then create a I think what I'll need to do is just create a new layer for now, which we'll call effects, because I don't think we have an effects layer. Yeah, okay, so let's do that. So we'll say new layer. Okay, and we'll just work on that one for now. Okay, so we have that, and then what I need to do is I want to bring in those graphics so I can use them as a base. Okay, so that's one, and then we'll grab this one as well, and we'll bring this one in. Okay, so that'll be our two effects. Now I don't want to save. And we will have to make them non-transparent, unfortunately. Just because of the way that shaders work, and this is something I've been learning more and more about, is that you can either go transparent, but if you go transparent, you lose the ability to do Z-sort, which is unfortunate, but it's just the way it is. Okay, so then what I'll do is I'll take these, duplicate them, and we'll work off of the duplicates. Okay, yeah, so what I'll need to do is build it out. Let's go with the line tool, sample this color. Actually, now that I think about it, it might be easier to work on a second layer. Okay, so we'll make that effects 1, and then this one will be effects reference. So we won't actually work on that layer, and we'll move that into our references. Yeah, that's what we'll do. And then we'll work on top of it. Oh, these are all on the wrong layer. Okay, so I'll go back to this layer. Wait, did I not select that layer? Oh, wrong layer. I do that often. I don't use A-Sprite. Come on. I don't use A-Sprite that often, so there's these weird quirks, weird behavior that I just need to get used to. Okay, now we're on the right layer. Let me just double check just to make sure that we are in fact on the right layer. Okay, so we're on effects. And we'll renumber this back to 0. Okay, yeah, we're good to go. So I'll just draw over top of it then. Yeah, I'm a big fan of kayaks too. I would recommend if you don't have the space for it, try an inflatable. I know it may not seem like a great idea initially, but they're really good, and they take up hardly any space. That's what I've been using, and I'm quite pleased with it. Okay, so we'll trace it first, and then I'll go in and I will fill in the colors. The angle of perspective, this whole graphic is going to be replaced later because I don't think the angle of perspective is correct for the 60-degree angle of perspective that we need. But for right now, I think it should be okay. So we'll just make do with what we got. Okay, so that's the outline, and then we'll go in and we'll do a little bit of fill on the white area. However, I want to make that a different color temporarily, just for visual, just so it stands out, and then I'll do the colors later. So about that to there, this to here, we'll say. Yeah, I think that looks okay-ish. Yeah, Canadian Tire is probably not the best place to get in inflatables, but it all comes down to how often do you really use it and what do you want to use it for, right? Like if you're just looking for something basic, yeah, you can grab them pretty much anywhere. But if you want something that's a bit more rigid, something that you're a bit more serious about, then yeah, it's going to cost a bit more. And Canadian Tire's probably not the best place to get it. But for the most part, though, you can likely pick something up that's decent at Canadian Tire for a reasonable price. Again, it comes down to you and what you intend to use it for, and the usage that you're going to be getting out of it. So it'll be different for everybody. Okay, I'll color this once we get it to a point where there's something to color. Okay, and then we'll do this last side here. Again, this graphic, this is just temporary. I fully intend to replace this later, but for right now, we'll just kind of go with what it is. And there will be no transparencies on this. So this is going to be purely solid, but the middle stuff is going to be absent, meaning not there at all. Okay, so I think we can apply some color to it now. Let's go with the darker color. Why did that not work? So if we select it, okay, so it's selected. Replace that with that. Interesting. Why is it not working? Search and replace should be working. Yeah, but they are so clumsy. You own one, Des? Yeah, it depends what type you get, right? Because some of them, of course, it's inflatable. Like the idea is for it to collapse when you take the air out, and for it to be as small as possible, which makes it easier to store and easier to carry. Like you can just put it in any vehicle trunk. Just make sure you dry it out properly, or mold will grow. Yeah, you can get something that's really like low cost, or you can spend some serious money on it. I spent kind of in the middle ground because I wanted something that's going to last me for the rest of my life, and it's going to be a one-time investment, and I'm going to get unlimited amount of enjoyment out of it, and I'll always have it. Oh, there's a link. Okay, I will take a quick peek at that. Let's see what that is. Okay, so that looks nice. Okay, so that one is pretty nice looking. I don't think that's inflatable. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a hard shell. Yeah, and it's 14 inches. That's pretty long. That is pretty big. Weight capacity is good, and it weighs only 53 pounds, so that's pretty good. It varies, right? This is, of course, going to be much better than most inflatables or foldables, right? The price is, even though it is expensive, it's not that high. That's quite the significant savings for them to drop down the price. So likely there's a newer model coming out, and they're trying to clear out stock. So that's why you're getting this kind of a good deal. But just storing it and all of that stuff, like as nice as it is, I would really enjoy having that. I got nowhere to put it, right? And then you gotta be able to carry it around too, right? Like when you want to go, you need to have a vehicle that will allow you to move it around. And then where are you going to store it in the off season, right? So the one that I used, and again, you may not like this, you probably won't, but it's different for everybody, right? So I went with these guys. Let's see. So they got a bunch of these. So this one would be like a personal one, right? And it you can get these, so you get it as the base. Of course, this one is a bit more expensive, but it's inflatable, so it collapses really well, and it becomes this bag that you just carry around. And then for its rigidity, there's two different types of bases you can put into it. One of it is like a pole that goes from back to front, right? And it gives it that rigidity, right? The other is you can get a kind of like a I forget the term for it, but like a secondary inner base that's flat, that gives it a very flat kind of thing to sit on. And these are really good in terms of like there's multiple chambers of air. Like the only way you can sink this is if you can if you take a knife to it, and even then you're going to have challenges because there's so many chambers that you need to sink, right? But this isn't for everybody, right? And this is not the one that I'm using. I'm just using this as an example. There's different kinds. So there's single seaters and there's like double seaters as well, which is really great for individuals. Let's say you want to go on a camping trip and there's going to be a lake or something somewhere that you want to be able to take something that's easy to carry with you, and it's just a bag. It's not this whole like, you know, thing that you need to go with. Where's the double seaters? They do have double seaters. Oh, I guess this would be it. Yeah, so they have a bunch of different kinds. They are expensive, of course, and this is American prices. These are not Canadian prices. So please keep that in mind. So this one would be a double seater, right? Like think about it, like you go on a nice camping trip out in the middle of wherever, and you're like, oh wow, we're by the water. It'd be awesome if we had a kayak. Well, there you go, right? Like an easy, simple to carry solution. But again, this is not for everybody. I'm not advocating for them. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm just saying that this is an option. There's many other options similar to this, many other companies that also make this stuff, but that's exactly what these are. The technology is pretty good. Like it's not going to rip, right? Of course it'll rip if you, let's say you take it to a river where there's sharp rocks and you're going over the rocks, there's a chance that you may rip it, right? But then you can repair it and it's not just going to sink because you broke one chamber, right? They're quite fault tolerant. But yeah, it's great. People take it fishing. It'll work. You can take it fishing. They have pretty good weight capacity. Like for its weight, like look this one as an example, right? It weighs 52 pounds or 23.5 kilograms, and it has a max weight, right, of 550 pounds or 249 kilograms, and it's inflatable, right? It's inflatable. And it has that capacity, right? So I often see people like take one of the other one that I showed you, like one of these single seaters, right? Because even this it's a single seater, but it has a weight capacity of 450 pounds. That's a lot of weight. I'm not even half that, not even close, right? So what people do with these is when they take these out, what they do is they sit in there, but then they have their pet, so their dog, either sitting in the back area or in the front area and just chilling. And they go out on the water, right? Obviously, you don't want to put something heavy because it'll offset the balance. It'll make it a little difficult to paddle, right? But and you don't want a person, right? But a small pet, like a dog or something, for sure. Absolutely. No problem. 450-pound limit. It's pretty good. What's this other link you gave me? I'll take a peek. Okay, yeah, so that's another hard shell. That one, yeah, so these will definitely get you better performance. Like if you want to go fast, right, an inflatable is probably not going to be very fast, right? This will always be faster in addition to that, right? These are less prone to be affected by the wind, right? Because they go lower into the water and they are more rigid. Whereas this, right, you're more prone to the wind. If you're in a windy day, right, like a really windy day, you're not going to have a great time with an inflatable unless you're just casually cruising and you don't care, right? But really, if you want to go places, you want a hard shell, right? Again, it comes down to personal usage. Yeah, the real thing, of course, is like having a hard shell or one of those what do you call it, carbon fiber or some other weird construction material that they use. Maybe not weird. Weird isn't really the right term for it, but the technology has come a long way, right? And there isn't just this, but there's foldable kayaks. So the foldable ones are even more expensive. So if you say foldable kayak, right? There is there's kayaks. So some like this, it's rigid, so it's solid, but these they fold, right? They're usually considerably more expensive. So let's just go with one of these, right? So I really dislike that. So this is it when it's folded up, right? That's when it's folded up. It becomes this thing, and when you unfold it, it's a hard shell, right? And it doesn't weigh that much. But these are always going to be more expensive, and you want to be very careful with these because if you damage the shell, right, then it's going to be an expensive fix, and you're going to have some water leakage, right? So there's a lot of options depending on your use case, right? Again, the advantage with foldable ones is that one, you get all the benefits or pretty much all the benefits of a hard shell. Or was that link? Whatever. You get most of the benefits of the hard shell, but you get the benefits of the compact portability of an inflatable. So it's kind of like in between, but these will always cost more. They cost a lot more. And be careful when you go to get one, make sure you're getting one for your use case. Like, oh my God, I need those pop-ups to stop. So you have lake, you have inlet, you got beach, you got bay, you got coastal, and you got haven, right? So you want to grab the right one for your use case, right? You don't want to take the wrong one to the wrong place. Like, I mean, some that's meant for a lake, you don't want to take it out to, let's say, on the coast. It's not meant for that. But yeah, there's a lot of options. I highly recommend you do your research and just keep in mind that there's always going to be a cost associated with it that it may catch you off guard, because when you're buying a kayak, you're not just buying a kayak, right? You need to buy the vest, right? You need to buy the safety gear. You need to buy the paddle. The paddle itself, depending on which one you get, and don't get the cheap stuff. You will regret it. Do not get the cheap stuff. What I mean by cheap stuff is anything that I've seen personally, current price of anything under like or around $100 is a pretty cheap paddle. You're not going to have a good time with it. You're going to want something around the $200 to $50 range just for the paddle. They do segment, and you can get the carbon fiber handle, but not the carbon fiber tips, right? So those are about $250 range, and they break off into 3 or 4 pieces, so they're easy to carry. And then of course, if you go on the more expensive side, the paddle alone can go upwards of like $1 to $2 grand if you want pure carbon fiber and all that latest futuristic stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of costs with it that definitely need to be considered. I don't understand. Why is search and replace not working? Okay, so if we go select this, search and replace, that's not right. I don't think this application is behaving correctly. So search and replace from that's not right. Is it? From to. Okay, so that worked. Okay, that worked. What I want is to go search and replace from the color black. We want to replace the blacks. Let's go with blue. Nothing. Why did that not work? It's on the same layer, so I'm not selecting the incorrect layer. Didn't know they had carbon fiber ones. Yeah, carbon fiber is good material. It's lightweight and it's pretty strong, and it's got a little bit of bend to it, but it's a good material. We're definitely going to be seeing a lot more carbon fiber stuff coming out in the future, because manufacturing that previously used to cost a lot, but now it's getting more and more common and it's costing less. So it's more feasible to make carbon fiber materials for various different uses, and they last a really long time. Why is search and replace? So I select this area, search and replace from the color, let's go with that, to this color. Nothing. How does that make sense? Okay, let's try that again. So we go search and replace. We'll search and replace that, and we'll replace it with this. Okay, so why does this one work, but that one did not? Okay, let's try that again. Search and replace. I want to replace blacks with blue. Okay, so that worked as well. So then we go back to here, and we'll say search and replace, right? We want to replace it with a blue, and we want to replace the black. And it doesn't work. Very interesting. But if you recall, we did see, so we replaced with blue. Let's go with that color. Nope, that doesn't work either. Wow. Why would that not work? Is it because there's something causing it not to work? I don't understand. So we want to select the area we want, search and replace it with blue. Why does it keep defaulting to that color? So let's change this to, okay. Why does it keep defaulting to that? Okay. So we want to search and replace the color black with the color blue. Okay, so this one worked. Okay, let's try this again. Select this area, search and replace the color black with the color. It doesn't want to do it. That is so strange. So it doesn't want to do search and replace on this one, but it will do this one. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Because it doesn't make sense to me. I'm clearly missing something here. So we tell it, replace black with the color blue, and it just goes, nope, not doing it. Okay. Is this even black? Black? Okay, so it's not black. That may have been it, but that doesn't make sense though. Okay, so I'll just go through it and I'll replace it. Because I want to be able to do search and replace. That was the whole point of doing this black outline. Because I want to do search and replace. The search and replace is really powerful. And it's very convenient to be able to use that kind of logic. And I highly recommend using search and replace when working with pixel art, where appropriate, of course. But I don't know. I just think it's strange that it just won't do it. Even though it'll do it when I copy it over, is just something about this shape that it just doesn't like or something. I don't know. I really don't. Okay, so we'll do the middle area. Okay, so now it should all be black, right? We're on the right layer. So we select this, search and replace. Okay, so it was the color. It was getting confused. Very interesting. That's interesting. I've never experienced that before. But when I copied it over to here, you guys saw that, right? It was working. The search and replace worked. But on the original copy, it didn't work. And I tried multiple times. Even on this one, I tried it and it worked. But search and replace just didn't want to work. That's very strange behavior. I found the perfect kayak for fishing. It includes the pedal and car rack for $725. The opening is larger in front for the seat for your fishing gear, etc. I seen a guy cook a fish in one of these. Weird. There's some really good kayaks that are meant specifically for fishing that are not necessarily meant for, like, you know, leisure kayaking, but more for like a hybrid, but more towards making it so meant for, should I say, for fishing, because a lot of people like fishing. I'm not a fishing guy, right? I'm not opposed to it, but that's not my thing, right? Some people really, really enjoy it, so all the power to them, right? But for me, right, I would want to use the kayak for a rather specific usage. But so the fishing kayaks, they're pretty cool. Like, some of them are very, like, they got this whole seating, like very comfortable seating for extended periods of time. And they got a place for you to, like, you know, should you capture any fish, you can store, if it's a catch and release, of course, you'd want to release the fish. But like more carrying capacity, place to like have a cooler with some, like, you know, beverages and whatnot, and food, like a larger storage, 2-seaters, 4-seaters even. It's pretty cool. Okay, so I see another link here. I'll take a quick look. Okay. Yeah, that looks okay. That paddle, you're not going to have a good time with that paddle. That just looks like one of those super cheap paddles. You don't want that paddle. You want a proper one. This thing right here, that's not. That's one of those cheap ones. The kayak itself looks okay, for sure. Just the paddle is a bit of a red flag for me. Okay, so now we should be able to go with, I think these were pretty much white. How are the colors so different and all over the place? I don't get this. They were all the same color when I was doing this. How did they end up being so different? Like, how did we get these weird colors? It was all the same brush. I don't know how that happened. Okay, anyway. So this is going to be the freeze. I know it doesn't look that great right now, but this is going to be a cutout, so there's no transparencies. However, the parts where there's nothing, there's going to be nothing. So you can see through it. Okay, I can get rid of this stuff. And then let's bring back our references. Okay. Yeah, it seems close enough. It'd be nice to have some transparencies, but I'm not too concerned about it. I'm okay with not having transparencies for now. Okay, so with that one, then we can do this one. Hopefully the same thing doesn't happen again. Let's go pure black. Okay, so pure black, no transparencies. Okay, let's see if the same thing happens again. I hope not, but it may or may not. I don't know. Just missed it. Okay. So I'm also working on other stuff behind the scenes, of course, like I've mentioned to you guys. One of them is the new logo for the project. It's not quite there yet, but I've been making some good progress on it. And hopefully I'll have something in the not so distant future. But we'll see. Okay, I'll make this one red, just so it kind of stands out a bit. So when I have something, I will of course show you guys. Right now it's still kind of in the preliminary stages. And it's not quite there yet, but there's a nice one that I've been working on and been going back and forth. But we'll see. How can you tell if it's a fishing kayak? Oh, it'll say. It'll definitely say on it what it's meant for, and it will have attachments that you can you can connect, or you can use your, no, what's the words? I'm trying to think of the right words, that you can put your fishing rod onto, and it'll hold it. So it'll have those kinds of components. So you'll definitely know when it's meant for fishing. You can even find them by saying fishing kayak, right? So this is a traditional, I think, a classic fishing kayak. Oh, this one's inflatable. Let's see if we can find a hard shell. What is up with these pop-ups? Like Google constantly wanting to know. I don't want you to ask me that ever. I don't. They already use your IP and your location to locate where you are. That's fine. I don't care. So here is a... Oh, this one's inflatable as well. Seriously? So many pop-ups. Wow. Okay, so I want a hard shell fishing kayak. Let's see if we can go to images. That one has a location for your rod, but that might not be what you're looking for. Where's the kind that I was looking? Okay, here we go. So this is what I was thinking of when I say a fishing one. It's got a very, very comfortable seat, right? And it's got all these compartments and whatnot. And this is a hard shell. This is meant specifically for fishing, right? So it's got that elevated seat. It's super comfortable seat for extended periods of time. And you can have not just one, but multiple. You don't like those? Okay, there's other ones too. There is the... Let's see. There's a bunch of other ones, but that's what I meant by a fishing one. You don't have to get those ones that are elevated seating. Here's another. There's like another example of another type. The pictures suck, but okay. Let's see if we can find some better. But yeah, it's specifically meant for fishing. So just put in the word fishing and you'll find it. There's very, very basic ones too. Like something like, that's not a good picture. Not even slightly. There's very basic ones meant for fishing. So something like this, I guess. I know you said you didn't like that, but the this one again has the elevated seat. There's basic ones, and then there's ones that you can even get that have a mini motor on the back too, which you may or may not want. But this kind of form is what I was kind of looking. Wow, what is up with all these pop-ups? And oh, this is inflatable again. I just wanted that picture. Like seriously, just give me a good picture and stop giving me so much pop-ups. It's one of the things, that's why I install like heavy like pop-up blockers. But yeah, there's all kinds of them. Just make sure if it says fishing on it, or if it's got fishing rod attachments, then it's meant for fishing. You can get single-seater, multi-seater, you can get whatever your choice may be or preference. Never seen anyone use those before, but I see people use the ones in my last link. It varies, right? If you're going to a place where it's not really meant for fishing, or should I say not a popular fishing area, then you may not see those all that often. But if you're in a place where fishing is more common, right? Or a place that's dedicated to fishing, maybe not dedicated, but it's just more common, you'll see different kinds of kayaks. Like when I go kayaking, I see a lot of different kinds of kayaks too. I see like some cheap stuff, and I see some middle, like in between area stuff, similar to kind of what I have. And then I see like some people that got completely like the baller kind of kayaks that are super expensive, the kind of stuff that I would never pay for. Just because I can't justify that kind of a cost, right? But you'll get all kinds of them, or should I say, you'll see all kinds of them when you go out. Um, it's just a matter of spotting them, whether at a distance or up close. Again, depending on where you go, when you go, the season. There's so many factors. Okay, so I think this one is good. Whoops, I keep pressing the wrong button. Um, okay, so I think we're good with this one as well. Let me just remove that base. Okay. And then we'll do a search and replace. Okay, so we'll replace that color with this blue color. Okay, so that worked. And then we'll do another search and replace. And we'll do that color with the color white. Okay. That works for me. Looks okay. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular. I just don't know how it will look when brought in, because these pixels are not that thick. I may need to double up on the line thickness of the pixels, but we'll see. Okay, so this is temporary, of course. So this is what will be used for when we freeze the character or the explosive. The taller one, of course, is for the player character, and the smaller one is when you freeze the explosive. So they will vary, of course. What I'll do is I'll export these. I think I'll just export it. Yeah, we'll export it as a... Yeah, it won't matter because it's going to be added to the texture atlas anyway, so it doesn't matter what size I export at. I'll export it, I'll import it, and then I'll go in and I'll add the bounds for each one of these, just like you normally would in the sprite atlas or texture atlas inside of Unity. So it should work. Okay, then I just need to export. Am I forgetting anything? I don't think I am. So this one will be sprite sheet effects. We'll call it effects 0. And then let's see. Our export comes out like that. So that looks good to me. And that's what we're going to be bringing into Unity. And we'll bring that into the appropriate location. So it'll go to images for Atlas, and we'll go and add it into the effects. Just drag and drop that in there. Okay, and then we'll change this to sprite 2D and UI. Single will change to multiple. Tight, it will need to be changed to full rect. You have to do that for the way that I use these. The other stuff, this doesn't matter because it'll get overridden. Clamp is fine. Bilinear needs to be point no filter because it's pixel art. This I change this usually, but you don't really need to. Quality none, or sorry, compression none. And yeah, okay. So then we could go to sprite editor. And we'll just cut these out. Okay, let's tighten it up a bit. Oops, I keep forgetting you're not supposed to grab that. Well, it's not that you're not supposed to grab it, just not for this particular use case. Okay, and there we go. I've done it again at the bottom. Okay, so that looks good for that one. So we'll do this one next. Okay, I will need to set an appropriate naming convention, but I'm not too concerned about that right now. And my camera died again. Yeah, I'll eventually get a new camera. I'm sorry about that. I'll eventually get a dedicated camera. It's because the smartphone works. It's just it doesn't work when you're doing development, right? Because it just doesn't. It's not a good idea. You need either a dedicated webcam or some kind of camera like a DSLR or something else that is not Android based and doesn't use the developer related API and functionality. Otherwise, this will happen and it'll keep on disconnecting. Okay, so with this done, what I want to do is go to my Atlas and I want to say preview. Okay, so now that it built out, those should be inside of it. Yeah, and there it is. So there's one there, and then there's the other one right there. Okay, so that looks good. So this is currently my Atlas. There's a lot of room for it to grow. Right now it's at 1024 by 1024, and it can get pretty big. So I'm going to be able to put a lot of graphics in here, and the UI stuff, I'm probably going to take the UI stuff out of this and have one specifically for UI. And these UIs, the way that they are, they should be 9 slice anyway for the backgrounds because they're all repetitive, same thing, right? We could save on quite a bit of space by 9 slicing some of that UI and then stitching it together inside of the UI layering system or UI layers or whatever the parenting is going to be like. But there's definitely some space, but right now I'm not worried about it. I just want to get everything in the Atlas so I can access it. That's all I want. Okay, make that about that size. Nope, a little bit bigger. All right, there's fine. Oh, wow. Look at that time go. Okay, so we're getting closer to what I'm going to be taking off for today. But if for those of you that are watching, feel free to hit that follow button if you want to know when I go live and when I... that's all your graphics? Yeah, this is what we got so far in our Atlas. These are all stuff that's made by me. These UI stuff is old, but the other stuff, yeah, that's our Atlas that we can grab stuff out of. I likely, like I said, I'll make another Atlas to separate some of this stuff, but I generally want to keep it on to one because you get some significant performance boost when you just have one Atlas or as few as possible because it reduces the draw calls. I don't know the full details of it, so I'm not the person to explain it to you, but there's a lot of benefits to using an Atlas. Whether you're working with sprites or whether you're working with textures in 3D, there's benefits, and a lot of it comes down to performance. But like I was saying, feel free to follow me. I do broadcasts on Tuesdays and on Fridays. There is a Discord community that you're welcome to join for those of you that do use Discord. And I do tweet and use Instagram once in a while, but really I only use those to just say when I'm going live or when there's a new dev journal that I write about or something else along those lines. But for the most part, if you want to stay up to date, broadcasts are definitely the best source of information because they're the latest. The forum is pretty good. Discord is great. And the dev journals. And then, of course, the videos are archived onto YouTube because I multicast both on Twitch and on YouTube. So it definitely it comes down to your preference of whichever you prefer. All right. So with that done, let's see. Can we get that graphic in here? I think I need to make a prefab specifically for these types of effects because we don't have anything. And then later I'll make a shader for it as well. But what we need to do is initially just be able to get it to display. How can we best do that? Let's just run this real quick and have a look at it. I could add so in the drop down, I could add another one for type. So it would be effect. So if we have one for effect, we could say shape, which is the secondary type, size, and then variation. Yeah, that could work actually. So I'll just go add on to these enums. So we'll add a new enum for effect. Yeah, I think that would work for now until I'll need to potentially refactor it later. I don't know. I think I need to think about it because sometimes when I get to like near the end of the night kind of thing on a Friday night, I'm not quite thinking as clearly. And oftentimes in the morning, on Saturday morning, I'll look back and I'll be like, okay, maybe that wasn't the greatest idea. And to be fair, it's okay. You're not always going to have the best ideas, right? But I just don't want to commit to something that I didn't really put that much thought into, right? This one I know it's not a big deal. We could probably just go ahead and do it and I'll think about it. But I don't think I want to do it just quite yet. I think I want to put a little bit more thought into this one because it's going to set the precedent and it's going to be a cascading effect, not right now, but in the future for any future stuff that's being added, effects of this type, whether it's frozen or let's say some kind of encapsulation or something. They will need to follow the same structuring, naming convention, and I want it to be reusable, really, is the main thing. I want it to be simple, I want it to be reusable, and I want it to be something that kind of makes sense and is easily modifiable. You can add on to it, you can edit it, all of that kind of stuff, which is the kind of the concept of a lot of these systems that I'm making, is that you'll see me build one direction, and then once the criteria is fully being defined, I'll change direction and I'll adjust and go to a new direction, then I'll readjust and go again, right? So an example of that would be the object pool system. Right now we're on, I don't know what iteration of it we're on, but I'm quite happy with it now. Would I have come to this conclusion right off the bat? Probably not, but it needed to kind of grow. I needed to think about it and try different things, and some of it worked out, some of it didn't, but eventually I ended up with the current solution that I'm using that fits this specific project. And it may not be the same for every project, but I mean, it just needed time to go through multiple iterations, and that means just thinking about it and putting a little bit of thought and care really into it. Friday evenings are the worst for me to program with. I'm usually brain dead. I I would have to agree with you on that. I feel similar, but at the same time, because I have a little bit of time that I can allocate towards something, I feel like I would like to do something productive, and I'd like to do something that's kind of fun. And I think it's fun to broadcast and work on the project at the same time and share it with you guys and give you guys a behind the scenes look of what it is I'm working on. And then it also gets archived. So it's something there for those people who want to watch it on a Saturday morning, right? So for the Saturday morning guys, then they have something to watch that was from the day before, right? And then let's say they're having breakfast or they're doing whatever in the morning and they want to just skim through it. It's available for them as well. So it's not about just what I would like to do right now. It's about what comes from it in the future, right? And then sometimes I have some good ideas that I'd like to do right now kind of thing. And then that'll lead into something for tomorrow. Like, for example, with this adding this additional effects graphics, right? I'm going to think about it tonight and then I'll implement a solution tomorrow and I'll be able to work on it on the weekend and then move on to some of the other stuff that I'm going to be implementing. But yeah, so that's kind of the idea. But again, I just want to thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me during this broadcast. I do appreciate it. For those of you that are just coming in, for those of you that are just coming in, this is pretty much the end of it for me. So thank you for watching. Please hit that follow button. It does make a difference. It does show the algorithms that you guys are interested in. For those of you that come and watch online, whether you're watching it on Twitch or whether you're watching it on YouTube, hitting that like button shows the search engines that there is interest. And when the search engines see interest, it's like a point score system. The more interest there is, the more likely they will show other people who may also potentially be interested, and it just becomes this exponential growth eventually over time. But each one of you plays a role in that. I'm just the person who makes the content. Where it goes from there, that's up to you guys and what platforms you choose to share it or whom you choose to share it with. But again, I know this kind of stuff isn't for everybody. It's a bit technical for some and not technical enough for others. So take that how you will. But anyway, thanks for coming and hanging out. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.